Uncharted waters, terrifying beasts, and death lurking just below the surface. The high seas off the east coast of Wraith represent not only a vast expanse for exploration, but also a barrier between two worlds. Don't laugh. I won't be able to do it if you laugh. Shut up.
Sorry.
Shut up. The surface of the water divides them, past and future, optimism and sorrow, even life and death. And to the explorers who traverse this knife's edge, greatness or tragedy awaits. Despite their safe haven among the clouds and aeronauts capable of untold destruction, the denizens of Sky City still face great peril in their quest for innovation and wealth. In mechanical laboratories strewn with blueprints and research, the craftsmen tinker away to build mechanical marvels, cog-based automatons, aerial fleets to conquer the skies, and arsenals against untold dangers. Many who adventure forth into the briny air do not return, and those that do are often left with souvenirs of their travels. Perhaps their plundering is not simply a blind pursuit of domination, but also a way to make themselves whole again. However, is this pursuit of mechanized power simply a facet of the political life in Sky City, or is there a figure orchestrating this expansion from behind the scenes? A wounded child looks out longingly over the railing, waiting for the sunrise of a horizon's mantle, wherein steamboats and zeppelins embark and clutter the delicate, wind-strewn clouds. Despite her injury and wooden prosthesis, she hopes one day that she too will set sail with the same zeal and fervor for knowledge as the buccaneers running up and down the piers. Fortunately, she is not alone. A small companion climbs up on the banister, roused by the first rays of sunlight. Stop laughing, I swear to God. It delicately chirps at first, but grows into a loud frenzy, pleasant at first but growing, demanding and authoritative, forming malcontent simmering beneath the echoing squawks.
Alright, hey everyone, welcome back to more Flesh and Bad, and today we're going to be playing some Puffin. So this was another winner from the Discord poll that I put out a few days ago. If you want to join our Discord, Tegan will probably put a link somewhere up there. But anyways, this deck looks really, really cool. So this is a Pirate Puffin deck, which I think is an archetype that was kind of like previously like kind of looked down upon for like more of like the boost Puffin stuff, which I think was like a little bit less interesting to me at the time, just because like there was like Dio already in the meta, so it's like, why are you playing Puffin over Dio? It's like kind of like, I don't know, it seems like a little bit of a downgrade. That being said, this version of Puffin is actually not running any boost cards. It's running actually the kind of new pirate card, Cheating Scoundrel, which has like basically kind of like revitalized this kind of like old archetype of Puffin, which is really cool. But yeah, this card is nuts in Marlin, as we all know, which I think you probably have seen from my videos or streams or whatever. But yeah, this card is like insane. Very, very just on rate, or like a very above rate card that also blocks 3, that's also 0 cost, just like all around basically everything you could want in a card and more. And I think this deck is really cool. So this deck is coming to us from Min-Maxing, who I think is a like renowned pirate or around Puffin or like Verdant. I was basically looking at some of like their kind of like old Puffin videos. So give Min-Maxing some love on YouTube. But yeah, they put out actually like a really cool stream on just kind of like this like pirate Puffin deck that I have actually kind of wanted to try. So this deck is coming straight for them. Again, no alterations. We're just going to play it, see how it goes. It's also going to be utilizing the new card from the compendium set, Skywarden. So this is basically like a mini golden Skywarden, which is pretty cool. I like a 2-of. And the nice part about being like a pirate Puffin is you also get to run a lot more kind of like generics, be a little bit more disruptive. So you can run like riches, you can run like some of the other kind of like value cards like Pummel, CNC, stuff like that, which I think makes this deck like really, really cool. So I want to go ahead and give it a shot, and it's also really nice that they included sideboards as well, which is fantastic. So again, special shout out to Min-Maxing, who I think is on YouTube and Twitch, so go ahead and again, show them some love here, because I am, again, stealing their deck list. But anyways, let's go ahead and give this deck list a shot, play some games, and kind of see how it goes, and see, maybe I'll be converted to Puffin, who knows. But yeah, let's go ahead and give it a try. All right, playing against Levia, and I know Levia has gotten some decent new tools from kind of like the new set. So I'm going to try to treat this probably closer to KO, because I imagine there's probably like a decent amount of overlap there. I have not seen any like fatigue Levia archetypes or anything like that. So let's maybe just try like the main deck 60 kind of like aggro with the balance of justice, I think is what this is doing. Let's go ahead and give it a shot. So give them a good luck, have fun. Yeah, main deck riches is also really cool to me because like in Marlin we kind of treat riches as more of like a kind of like anti-fatigue tool, but in this deck it seems like it's maybe just like a solid value card, which I think like makes sense when you consider like the hero abilities are like very different, right? But excited to give this a shot and kind of see how this goes. We also have Sunken Treasure in the opener, which could be really good for potentially turning over some of their graveyard here. Oh my god, they're hitting a Beast Within off of the Tear Limb from them. That's kind of terrifying. Pitch Zone is a little bit funny here. Double Shadow Realm Horror. And it looks like they maybe are just going to whiff there. It's actually really nice for us. We can go ahead and turn over Beast Within here. Just kind of like ruin their graveyard, kind of mess them up a little bit. And the question is, do we want to give anything more? I think the answer is probably no. Go ahead and turn over that Beast Within. Really just kind of try to mess them up here. Considering maybe giving some additional cards here because his hand is like kind of whatever. But I think we can probably make it work, right? All right, so we draw the Sky Skimmer as well. Okay, so interesting starting hand here. I'm gonna go ahead and just crank our bird. Is it too early to bird though? I guess we could like make them deal with it though. It should be like pretty annoying. Let's go ahead and just like make them deal with it. Go ahead and crank our cog and then follow up with the poly, I think, just to draw another card. Yeah, we'll go ahead and crank both here. All right, drawing the Cogworks Zeppelin, I think, is also really solid for us. So how do we sequence this, I guess, is the real question. I think we want to like dovetail to like end on Cogworks. Does that work? We don't have like another yellow to turn over, like generate another gold, which is a little awkward. We could also consider like Sky. I kind of want to like maybe just like play the Zeppelin first, anyways. Feels weird, but maybe that's correct. Would also require them to like give us a bunch of cards. The lack of like cog here is like kind of awkward. Maybe I'm still supposed to like just dovetail and just like send damage and then keep the seafloor for like turning over something in the future. I think that seems more reasonable than like, because the problem is that they block out the Zeppelin, then we don't have go again to like play out the rest of our hand. I think that's probably what a Puffin player would do, but again, not a Puffin player, not very confident in this deck. So I think this is actually my first time playing this deck, or at least in a while. I think I probably played like Pyro Puffin at some point, but not in recent memory at least. What we could have actually also considered doing was maybe trying to put the Cheating Scoundrel on the back here on this Cogworks. Oh, we can't actually discard the seafloor salvage just to win the wager. What do they have here? Did we? Very hard to actually see this. What do they block with here? They blocked, I think, with a block there. It's a little hard to tell. All right, let's actually discard a card here to just win the wager. I think is reasonable. But yeah, the Cheating Scoundrel just being able to like give you free gold is kind of nuts in this deck. Right, go ahead and connect here. Again, we're not getting the on hit, but damage is damage. All right, so what was the other card they blocked with? They blocked with, okay, it was maybe just the 2 cards in the armor. That's what it was. Okay, makes sense to me. The nice part is we do get to keep Poly around, assuming that it lives. Like maybe it lives because it's a bit awkward to try to kill it here. Okay, seems like they're gonna just spend the 4 damage to bolt the bird though. Thank you for your service, Poly. You've served us well. But to the graveyard with you. Okay, so we lose our Cogstar turn, which is fine. So we can play Copper Cog and then Cogworks Workshop. Alternatively, we can also just like Puffin again, make another Cog, do all the things. I think I'm gonna go. Let's go ahead and play out the Copper Cog, see what this does for us. So go ahead and crank it, and then I think we are supposed to, because we do have to pay 1 for this, so it's not free. So we might as well, I think, just activate Puffin again. I think. All right, draw the soup up, which is now live, which is good. The interesting part is going to be figuring out, so Backspin Thrust requires us to untap a cog, which is kind of awkward. I'm going to play ahead and play maybe the soup up here. And I'm trying to think if there's any sequence of stuff that we can do to like tap a cog, then untap it. I don't think there is. I think we need like a card specifically to do that, right? So we can also do like E-Strike into Go Again and then Spitfire for another 3 at the end of it. But the problem is we won't have like Go Again after that. I think this should be fine still. We're getting like +1 damage versus E-Strike just for the +2 mode basically. It seems like we're racing pretty effectively here. We do still have to chew through the Carrion Husk, but their graveyard's like not amazing right now. I mean, it's like serviceable, right? They have at least 1/6. But not anything to like necessarily write home about yet. Yeah, Levia definitely is scary with a lot of the kind of new support she got from the set. Definitely looking to potentially be kind of a contender, especially maybe after like KO leaves, but then you're losing the Mandible Claws, which is a little bit kind of like a double-edged sword. It does feel like she's maybe still like kind of second best brute to KO, unfortunately, just because of like the consistency issues she has. But I think there's definitely still some potential there. All right, here comes the Blood Rush, which we were definitely kind of overdue for. It is another non-6 that they're adding to their graveyard, so their whiff percentage is like semi-high. They do have three functional whiffs. Right, I think we're maybe just gonna go ahead and throw the balance in front of this here. Mainly just so we can like cash it in the turn and just try to keep up the tempo. It's also pretty nice that we have the cog in the machine here, which could end up doing quite a bit of work. Right, so it looks like they did manage to not just lose immediately to the Blood Debt there. Seems fine for us. Then we're going to save the Shelter just in case they end on like a Strongest Survive or something weird. But yeah, we'll see what the follow-up is here. All right, finishing on the Endless Maw, which will also hit. So their graveyard is basically non-existent at this point. Go ahead and crack our balance and just see what the rest of our hand is. Okay, second cog in the machine. Probably not exactly what we wanted. But probably still fine. So I think here we maybe just give the Shelter just to soak up a little bit of damage. Maybe we can go ahead and just give up the Unicycle just to like cash that in. I don't imagine they're going to be hitting us with too much disruption. Like maybe the Unicycle ends up doing something next turn. Cogworks Tinkerings doesn't seem necessary just yet. I'm mostly used to seeing this like being played with the like adaptive plating or whatever it is to just block an additional 2. But I guess this does have real text out like in Puffin, which is kind of funny. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the cog in the machine here. I think we do want to tap. So we do want to crank our cog, and then crank another cog. Then we can tap, I guess, the copper one here. Not sure if it matters which one we tap or not. All right, but that will let us draw cards. So we draw the Golden Skywarden, which is kind of whatever on this hand. So I think what we're supposed to do is what? We can like Cheating Scoundrel, Backspin Thrust, attempt to play out the Skywarden. The only issue is Scowling. I guess is kind of annoying. What we could actually end up doing is like cheating. So we have the extra action point. What we could do is just like pull Tunic and then play out the Skywarden. I think seems reasonable. It's coming in for 10 with the wager. Kind of funny that we're attacking with Skywarden, but sometimes it's what it's there for, right? Gotta do what you gotta do. I mean, it's not that bad. It's like a 3-card 10 or something. I think that hand was maybe just a little bit awkward, but not the worst thing in the world. We could have also considered maybe trying to hold on to the cog in the machine or something like that. Interesting. And so it seems like they are going to maybe let this connect here, so we do get an additional gold, which is great. And then I think we're going to go ahead and maybe just use this backskin thrust just to kind of like guarantee the value on it. Because otherwise we're kind of at risk of us not like If we lose all our cogs next turn, I guess we can like Puffin, maybe make a cog, but there's like some minor chance that we're not going to be able to like use this super well. So I think I kind of don't mind this. So I'll go ahead and just untap our cog and then just come in for another 4 and then 3. So we're doing some pretty good damage here. So it feels pretty solid. All right, go ahead and I guess put the cog machine on top. Drawing another one was kind of funny. I don't know if, like, this card's definitely like, I don't know if this is necessarily a power card, but it definitely does let you kind of like do some kind of crazy things. All right, just a Dread Screamer for 7 here. Don't really see any real reason to give up armor. I just give up the Cogworks, and that doesn't really do like a ton for us. I'm gonna just save my Tinkerings, I think. I don't think we're in any real rush to go ahead and use them just yet. All right, and then let's start the turn, I think, here with the cog in the machine. So we'll crank, and do we want to tap to put this on bottom? I think we don't, right? Because we already have like 2 in the deck. Let's go ahead and just draw our card, I think. Okay, E-Strike's not bad. We do have to be careful here. Playing around scaling is going to be kind of challenging. Because to play around scaling, we basically need to like E-Strike. Like E-Strike draw a card. That doesn't seem horrible. Let's try this. Let's do like E-Strike draw a card and just see what they do. Ooh, Palantir could be pretty decent. Maybe end up forcing the scaling ourselves if they don't want to go ahead and use it here. But we'll see. It seems like they maybe are going to just throw the scaling in front of this, which seems reasonable. So hitting our skiff, I don't think is the end of the world. Oh, and they do have the new Diriact here in the Engulfing Shadows. Pretty cool. 0 for 4. Additional blood debt. So we could theoretically make another cog here if we wanted to. I don't think it seems worth it to just destroy their hooves. I think we're... Well, I guess we could also just use our unicycle here if we did want... I think maybe we are supposed to just destroy the hooves. Just, like, prevent them from getting an action point. Seems reasonable. And we'll have the skiff next turn. We'll also have a goal just to, like, turn on Puffin. This deck feels really, like... it feels like you get a lot more gold generation than Puffin lists prior, which I think is, like, the reason maybe why they printed this card. But I think here, since they gave us these, I might as well just go ahead and kind of destroy a different card in the combat chain, which is kind of like a neat little trick you can do with a Palantir. I think we're just going to try to cash in the extra damage instead of caring about the hooves. Given that we're just already like kind of so far ahead, let's go ahead and just destroy the Writhing Beast Hulk. So basically get over for another 6 here, which is great. We get to Arsenal the Skiff for next turn, and we're presumably not bricking off of it's like not having a cog or whatever. This deck does feel like it's got like just a real consistency to it. And then them taking blood debt I think is also great for us. So let's go ahead and probably finish them off here. So we'll go ahead and crank, play another copper cog, which will crank as well. All right, drawing another Skywarden is kind of funny, but probably not going to matter too much here. So have we actually made a cog leave the arena? I believe so. I guess we'll play it at last just in case I forgot. I kind of wish there was a way to keep track of that, or maybe there is one. It's showing the log somewhere. Oh, we played out Palantir, so this has to be on, right? We played out Palantir last turn, so it has to. We had to have had cogs around, right? Sorry, as someone who like does not play a bunch of Puffin, it's like kind of hard to like keep track of everything, at least in my brain. We should be basically killing them this turn, though. All right, let's go again. Follow up with the soup up. And it looks like we might end up just like arsenaling the Skywarden, which seems a little bit suspect, but probably acceptable. If we had Tunic Counter up, we could slam another Skywarden at their face, but I feel like that's probably not necessary. Now they have to give us like 5 block here, and then presumably die to Blood Debt. Go ahead and pump this for this one. It seems like the Diabolic Offering, maybe not doing them a ton of favors on the hand. Okay, no block in hand as well. All right, well, good game. Pretty good start to the list. Again, like I've not really played this list a ton, but we still felt like we were just super far ahead that game. But yeah, like the new cheating scoundrel card is just like seems nuts all around. Like, and I know Gravy players are also trying to experiment with it as well. So I think this card just like does really kind of like boost the pirate archetype or like the pirate decks a lot. And it's kind of surprising that like Gravy like is even considering running it as well, because it doesn't really feel like it's really siloed into Gravy. But yeah, just a very, very impressive card. All right, let's go ahead and see if we can get another. All right, it's playing against a Jarl, so I'm assuming that we're probably going to try the fatigue board. I guess it'll be a little bit unique, so I think we're boarding out our Diriax. This might be a little bit tougher matchup for us, but I imagine because we're not doing like boost Puffin, maybe it gets a little bit easier. And again, there are some variants of Jarl that I think are like a little bit less fatiguey, so maybe they're not even playing fatigue Jarl. Definitely anything is possible with Jarl with the kind of like new card pool he's got. All right, what do we have to start off here? So we have 2 erase faces, which I think are a little lackluster here. I think let's go ahead and just maybe send the erase face. Get some cards out of hand. Arsenal the other one. Seems fine. Maybe we'll save our Skywarden for a bit later in the game. Alright, so it seems like they maybe are a little bit more kind of like value tempo, at least it kind of seems to me. Seems like they're maybe running like some Earth package or something. So them having Decompose online is pretty good, but they're pretty much always going to get to it at some point anyways. And I think if they're fat decking, like I want to try to like trade cards there. Like trading our 2 cards for one of their cards is I think pretty good. Huh, so interesting hand. We could potentially try to block this, but we'd have to like block with like the cog in the machine, and I guess that's not a terrible block, like cog plus Sky Skimmer. Then we can like cog in the machine, do some stuff, maybe like Spitfire. I think we do want to try to keep one of these cog machines in the deck, right? So we probably do want to like end up tapping. Maybe we'll just go ahead and give them the 6 here. It's maybe fine. We have to get a little bit careful about using our equipment this game. But yeah, let's go ahead and do the cogging machine. So we want to tap a cog, I think, here. Just to kind of preserve that in the deck. And Cheating Scoundrel is a nice draw. Interesting. Yeah, let's maybe go ahead and play it, although there's it's very likely that we'll go ahead and like lose this. But not the end of the world. So let's go ahead and maybe just send a big erase face in. I think ideally we maybe wouldn't try to like combo that with like a CNC or something, but I don't think I'm supposed to like save it or anything. And them playing like some Earth cards kind of signals to me that they're maybe playing like CNC and like Plow Under and stuff, which means clearing the arsenal, I think, is definitely pretty high value. If they're smart here, they'll notice that the extra action point's still hanging around, so they can deny the Spitfire if they want to. They're basically getting like a 4 block at a Stalagmite, which is pretty good. Not sure if they quite see it though. Maybe they do see it with the Stalagmite block here. But yeah, I imagine Erase Face is probably decently annoying for them. Okay, looks like they're also going to go ahead and just give us the Spitfire on the back. The question is, I guess, do we want to use up the Quicken token on that, or do we want to try to save the Quicken token for like a more opportune time? It's an interesting choice. So 2 damage now versus a quicken token in the future. I think given that we have like maybe the quicken token can be moderately annoying. Let's go ahead and save the quicken token and see what kind of happens. And we're losing out on 2 damage, but I think the quicken token might give us some decent value later in the game. Oh, and if they're just like filtering 2 reds to gold, I think I'm like kind of happy with that. That being said, we're getting hit by Untold, but is what it is. I think here we just block with the Sky Warden and then eat the Untold, and then just like set up an arsenal with the quicken token. Make them have disruption multiple turns in a row, right? So we get a fat stack of gold here. Then we just bottom 2 random cards. I think we're pretty much happy with anything. The Skyscammer is probably the worst one, but like not that bad. So we'll go ahead and just take that on the chin, set up an arsenal, and pass back. Again, they can definitely have like some pretty good disruption chaining here if they manage to find like multiple Oakenolds in a row or like a Felling or something, but I think in this spot, I'm just going to go ahead and try to cash in our Tunic. Kind of punish them for playing the Winter's Bite here. Now they have to have another kind of disruption to kind of follow this up. They may or may not have. All right, so going to 44. That being said, we chewed through a lot of armor, so we're definitely not in a terrible spot here, I think. So overfitching the Crumble to maybe set up another Crumble. Okay, fair enough. So yeah, this is why we take off turns against Jarl. Because it seems like their hand was basically just like kind of non-functional for the most part. Now we get full 5-card tempo. They get to put a counter on our Finals, which is annoying, but like not the end of the world. And now we can start kind of doing some work here. So let's go ahead and Puffin. And I think we're going to try to Cogworks Workshop, pitching the Copper Cog. We'll crank that, and then we'll go ahead and do that. So we don't need to use Poly just yet. We'll save Poly for kind of a rainy day. We'll go ahead and put some counters back on these cogs, kind of just set them up. And then I need to remember if Soup Up is actually live with Go again. Let's, I guess... Let's go ahead and start, I guess, with the Cogworks Zeppelin with the Quicken token on it, which should be mildly annoying. So like, if we can bait them to use like armor here, like maybe we can punish them, like force them to like block on this or something. All right, but it looks like they're just going to go ahead and let us have another cog here, which I think I'm fine with. Go ahead and make a new cog, crank it. It also nets an action point, which is kind of sick. Or preserve our action point or whatever. Let's go ahead and then send in with, I think, the Palantir here. Still have 1 action point kind of hanging around. Which is pretty good. One thing I did not necessarily think about was the destruction on the Palantir. Like maybe there's some other way we could have made a cog. Like maybe we were supposed to like block with Unicycle. I guess we didn't really get an opportunity to block with Unicycle though. So I think we're gonna go and just pump this for 8 now. Or maybe, oh sorry, hold on. I think we're supposed to pump this for just 7 so that we can fire the gun at the end, right? Okay, I think that's the play. All right, now I need to check if this has Go again, which I think it does. I believe it does. Okay, it does. Cool. Which means we are also insulated from Stalagmite here, which is nice. So getting some good damage on the board. That being said, they do have 4-card hand, which could be a bit scary. Yeah, your move, Jarl. 4-card hands. If you shoot through most of the armor here. So I imagine what we're probably doing is just... Okay, so... Interesting. It's just 6. To me, their hand was just bad. That is also definitely a possibility. So if that's the case, how do we best punish them here? The Stalagmite is definitely going to be a little bit annoying, but I think maybe what the play is next turn is to like actually maybe go for a poly play. Try to draw a card, maybe just get some value and force them to deal with poly, I think is reasonable. The question is, do we want to throw the unicycle in front of this? Just to like maybe cash it in. Let's go ahead and get the block on it just because I don't think they're gonna get the room to like mingle anytime soon. And like we might end up trying to use it at some point. Getting the 1 point of value maybe is reasonable. So let's go ahead and start, I think we want to draw the card first just to like play around Stalagmite, right? So we'll go ahead and like play the poly out now. So we'll go ahead and crank our cog. Go ahead and get the poly online as well. I think getting a blue here would be really helpful. Okay, that's not amazing, but acceptable. We maybe honestly just like pitch that at some point this turn. Let's go ahead and start with the soup up. And again, this might not give them a ton of information in terms of like when they want to use their Stalagmite. Could also end up like just throwing a CNC here, which I think is like mid, but fine maybe. Okay, they're just going to give us like 4 block between the 2 ice cards. I think I'm very happy with that. Now let's go ahead and follow up with the Sky Skimmer here. I think I kind of do like just like trying to punish them with the CNC here because they want to try to keep a card to deal with poly, right? So I think that's reasonable. Other option is we can like E-Strike go again into Spitfire, which is like more damage, but like less disruptive. So I think I like just maybe cashing in the CNC here. Makes it really annoying for them to deal with, I think. All right, Pummel out of the way is fantastic. Yep. So I think that just like all red hand they had was just like really backbreaking for them. And now he basically at full tempo. Poly is dead, but that is the purpose of Poly, right? All right, so we got a lot of cogs leaving the battlefield this turn, but we get to functionally like refresh them here. Copper Cog is such a nuts card. Like it's such an unassuming card, but it's so good when it's like really good. All right, let's go double crank, get our card draw. All right, we have some Zeppelins to play around with, so I think we might as well go for them. The question is like whether or not. Okay, so actually this is kind of interesting. We should probably actually Sky Skimmer first. We have the Tunic to deal with the Stalagmite, so that shouldn't be a huge issue. Like, what if we Sky Skimmer get to go again, and then Backspin Thrust get to go again, and then end on the Zeppelin? Maybe that's like the safer play if they want to like block out. I think that seems reasonable. Go ahead and crank it, or not crank it, tap it, I guess. Get to go again here. Follow up with the Backspin. I think Backspin is just a really, really cool card. All right, so let's go ahead and pull the Tunic here just for the resource. Then we'll use that resource to go ahead and just pay for the Backspin. Get the Gogan here. And we'll end on the Zeppelin, so potentially threatening 7 or 8. Yeah, if they're just going to let this connect, I think I'm more than happy to just throw another Spitfire at them. So we'll tap our cog, crank it, and then finally end on the Spitfire. Another 3. Yeah, very, very good turn for us. Notably, our opponent's not playing like a Fatigue Jarl. They're on like more of like the disruptive kind of plan. Like, I think it makes sense that we're kind of like leaking so much damage. But very, very impressive showing into Jarl, I guess. Okay, playing Channeled Weaken Span. So I've actually seen a lot of this card recently. Just as a way to deal with Cilio, Phi. I think Jarl is actually like kind of decently positioned into a lot of the kind of better decks. I think the main struggle is still like Marionette, right? But yeah, Jarl seems like he's going to be pretty strongly positioned, at least into a lot of the new stuff. All right, they're going to go ahead and pitch their ice card here and maybe just keep the channel Bleak Expanse around. That's kind of fine though, because we don't necessarily have to draw a card next turn. And do we have any yellows to turn over? Not in their graveyard, but potentially in. So I think I kind of like just giving them the Sunken here. So we're gonna have Cogs leaving. We can Zeppelin. Kind of like just getting an extra gold to set up for like a future turn. Let's go ahead and turn over, I guess, our Sky Warden or something. Should be fine. And we don't really plan on drawing any cards next turn, so this is actually kind of basically meaningless for us. Right, Soup Up is just such a really strong card in these kind of decks. Just getting a 0 for 4 go again that also has like an alternate mode of like blocking 4 is like kind of nutty. It seems like they're maybe going to cash in the other Stalagmite here, which fortunately we do have the way to kind of punish that again. Yep, seems pretty good. Seems like they're maybe trying to like hold together kind of like a turn here. I think the Zeppelin maybe is going to put a damper on that. Because this is technically lethal on board. It's kind of funny. They can maybe give us like these civic steps to like kind of stay alive, but we also, I guess, have the Spitfire follow up. I think they almost like have to give like 2 cards here. Or at least like 1 card or something. All right, so I think this is an interesting scenario. I think we want to preserve the Quicken token, so we're going to go -1 damage to get +1 on the Zeppelin and just not make another cog. I think that's reasonable. We could have also like done -1 damage to just make a cog and not crank it. Which I think is also fine. Maybe like having the 1 cog would have been helpful, but that being said, we still have like the tinkerings and stuff. So I think we're still kind of in a fine spot here. All right, we're getting double Bleak Expanse, which is kind of funny. So what do we want to do here? We have the Sky Warden, which we could. It's not going to give us any gold is the issue. We might just end up just shoving this at their face or something. I think that seems reasonable. Let's go and just take our 6 damage. Again, very important to just like not keep an arsenal against Jarl, especially if they're doing kind of like the more like earthy, kind of like CNC disruptive kind of thing. All right, so notably, we're not going to be drawing cards because of the Channel Bleak Expanse, so we do have to be a little bit cognizant of that. What is the best play here? We can like Seafloor Salvage, E-Strike or something like that. I think that seems reasonable. Just set up like a little gold pile. Let's go ahead and turn over one of our yellows. Go ahead and turn over like the Zeppelin. And yeah, I think just like E-Striking them seems fine. Set the cogworks for later. We are going to keep an arsenal here, which does leave us a little bit susceptible, I guess, to kind of like plow under or whatever. I will say this turn, the Bleak Expanse was definitely a little bit more annoying. Alternatively, we could make a cog just to get another card out of their hand. Is semi-reasonable. Feels bad to like use a gold for 2 damage, but maybe that's actually worth it. I'm gonna crank it and just kind of send it here. We could have actually sent him for another 3 if we wanted to, but I think it should largely do the same because they probably don't want to block a Tunic. Yeah, I think we're set up really nicely here. And riches as well. Very, very nice. Okay, so let's go ahead and now start with Puffin. We'll crank our cog and then play out the cogworks from Arsenal, which will basically refresh the gold. It's almost kind of crazy to me that these decks don't run hook. I mean, it does make sense, right? You just kind of have like the other kind of value stuff. Now we just find our own pummel, which would be probably backbreaking for them. So I'm just sending with the CNC. We have 2 cogs set up for the next turn, which makes our Zeppelin a bit better, and then we might just end up dying to this, which I assume they probably are, unless they have some prevention or something. But yeah, Pummel Puffin back and alive in 2026. Very, very crazy. Good game movie. But yeah, very, very interesting Jarl deck as well from them. So it looks like they're on kind of like, oh, okay, triple Blizzard. So maybe they just like did not find their disruption that game. They did land 1 Old, but other than that, it seems like maybe their things just like kind of didn't line up for them. I'm kind of curious why they're running the fruits here, because it seems like they really don't have very much earth. I guess maybe it's for like Old and stuff, which I think is reasonable. But yeah, it's kind of a bit surprising me to see like a bunch of like earth cards and what is presumably like a more like ice focused like Jarl deck. But yeah, I've seen like a lot of variation in the recent Jarl lists. Like I think there's like a lot of like earth kind of focused Jarls. There's a bit more like ice focused Jarls. And then there's still like the fatigue Jarls, which are kind of just like hanging around, being like kind of, I think, worse fatigue plays at this point. Maybe not. But yeah, very cool Jarl deck. Let's go ahead and see if we can get one last one. All right, playing against the Katsu. So I think probably want to go second. So I'm assuming they're probably going to be running the new Wind Cutter card, which is pretty cool. But I do have to say it's not been like super impressive into just like kind of like aggro decks, which I think Puffin is probably a little bit more aggro leaning. I don't think we want Balance Justice against them. I think Dominion's probably still fine. And yeah, let's go ahead and just send it. Oh, okay, they are on Okana this time, so which I think is like what you kind of want to be doing. Like my vision for Katsu when I first saw like Wind Cutter was to have it be like kind of like an alternative game plan kind of in the board. Also, we probably shouldn't block the edge here. But my vision was like that Katsu decks would kind of run both Okana and like Dachis and kind of have like a hybrid plan, and then like you have like the Wind Cutter stuff on the board. I've seen a lot more like one or the other recently, so maybe that's not exactly how it's working out. Okay, this will be interesting. So let's go ahead and get our free card draw and just get the poly on the board. Might as well go ahead and take it, right? Find a soup up, which is not super helpful here. We could go ahead and just get our 1 for 5 go again. Do like 1 for 5 go again into Zeppelin, like untap. Is that good? Hand's not like incredibly compelling, I feel like. So if they block 6 on this, they basically stop our whole turn. It's a bit awkward, so I guess what we're supposed to be doing is like just sending this first for the go again. The nice part is this does untap on hit, so it does mean we don't have to like use the unicycle again necessarily. You need to remember that this card has like actual text. It looks like they're gonna go ahead and respect it. Go ahead and pass here and then give it the go again. So now we can consider using our unicycle here if we want it. Getting the extra untap here so we can like maybe just like throw the Palantir at something. Seems kind of reasonable. And yeah, I think we're gonna go ahead and just go for it, right? So we get to tap cog, make a cog, crank a cog. And then we could also consider just like salvaging because they're not gonna have a turn and setting up for the Palantir. I think I kind of like that. Like, what if we just like close the chain here? Play out C4 salvage, turn over, I guess maybe their Tempest Palm, and then just Spitfire to kind of end off the turn. This sets us up really nicely, I think, for next turn, just like having the gold that we have access to, and they're probably just gonna like take the turn off just to kill Poly. I think we're very okay with, I think. All right, thank you, Poly, for your service. And yeah, let's go ahead and just pass the next turn. So we have both our soup ups live, which is really good. The one awkward part about this hand is that we don't get the crank right away, but we can maybe try to find it at some point. And they'll have to like block out another Cogworks if they want to deny us it, so maybe it's still fine. So let's go ahead and crank again, or make a new cog. Crank it, and I think we're gonna force them to spec this Cogworks Zeppelin. Because if they let this hit, we're functionally drawing a card and getting our action point back, which is really good. Yeah, a lot of times Katsu just like cannot afford to do it, so I think it's reasonable here that they're not blocking. Ooh, and then we also have the dovetail. All right, it's looking like a pretty nasty turn. Yeah, let's go ahead and just follow up with the dovetail. And give this go again, and then finish on Ice Skimmer. Go again into Spitfire. That's the line I see, so let's go ahead and tap this to give it go again, right? Getting some really good damage in, and then we can Sky Skimmer go again into Spitfire for an extra 2. So pretty damn high value turn. Whoops. I think we messed up there. There we go. All right, I think we're good. So now we go again this. Now we get an extra 2. Cool. So I think our opponent's probably gonna end up backing their cross strap and maybe blowing us up next turn anyways, but yeah, I think we put up a pretty decent fight here. Ooh, Skywarden is going to be, I think, really good this turn. So let's go ahead and block with our Tinker Rings a little bit early, and also potentially denies the on hit here. That being said, they can empowerment, they can do whatever. So not really ever like stopping anything, but make them work for it, you know. And then what do they have in the graveyard? They got like a retrace, a fluster. So the graveyard's not like crazy yet. I think we're still really strongly ahead here. But how good this turn is definitely going to be the make or break for this game. All right, looks like they're going to go ahead and grab the retrace here, plus the extra gust wave. Maybe they already have like a bonds. What I'm guessing. We'll see. Could also be going for some dishonor stuff or something. I imagine they'd probably go like surging here, gust wave into whatever finisher. Should be fine. Okay, Whelming's pretty scary. So we do have to kind of block 5 on this, which is a little awkward. I mean, we do have the Golden Skyward in the sense that we can like block 5. It would require us to get rid of like all our cogs though, which kind of is annoying. The alternative play is we can like block 6 between these two. I think that's like worse. I think I'm supposed to maybe just give the 5 here. Sure. We get 3 gold, which is not bad. So there's the bonds. What does bonds get back at this point? Maybe just a fluster here. They have like another retrace. They can go like gust wave, retrace, name like fluster, like open center, whatever. Could be pretty good. So I think I'm probably what I'm gonna end up doing next turn is like blocking 3 here, or like 3 at some point this combat chain. And then just like sending like a Palantir to force the Okana block. Okay, so it seems like they are gonna go for the retrace, so they definitely could have some interesting follow-up here. Seems fine though. Again, this was their big turn. If we're sniping the Okana next turn, I think we're in real good shape. Especially with the cheating on the back of it. Should be pretty good for us, I think. Oh, and the nice thing is we actually have Tunic counter coming up, so if we actually, maybe it's better to just throw the Skyward in front of something random. Like just get rid of this as like a 2-block. Alternatively, we can also like just give a gold to give like +1, which I don't think is like terrible. Let's see what the final retrace name is here. Oh, okay, maybe you have like another bonds. That could be scary. If that's the case, then we can't really deny them the bonds, right? So they go 4 and 4. We go to like 18, which should still be okay. Yeah, I think this is fine. Like worst case scenario, this is another bonds, right? I think. Unless they have like another retrace or something weird. Right. Another bonds, pretty good. They could have, I think, put together like a fluster line here, right? Or they might have been able to do like retrace fluster. I'm kind of surprised they didn't go for it, but I guess it kind of makes sense. All right, so let's go ahead and just throw like 2 in front of this. Stay a little bit healthy. I think we'll try to preserve the gold here. Maybe it was an opportunity to try to get the value out of this, but we like kind of functionally already did. It's like fine. I think we're still a little bit ahead this game. Ooh, Cogworks, I think, is very, very good, right? Could be weird, but I think it's on the whole pretty reasonable. So Cranker Cogs, put our steam counters, draw our card. A E-Strike, not incredibly helpful. But I think we still do it, right? Coming for kind of a little baby Palantir. Forcing them to block Okana, which is going to be pretty rough for them. And then we're getting a lot of damage in. So pretty good for us. They still get a 4-card hand, which is definitely scary. But if they're just pitching to edge, then I think we're kind of okay with this. So go ahead and let them connect here. And you have a really good hand here to pressure us. That being said, Surging Strike is definitely a good one. So we probably should respect this somehow, some way. Let's go ahead and give Hogging the Machine is basically a freebie draw next turn, right? So we like maybe want to give like also just not give any cards here. Like no respect. They get Whelming. We block like 4 on the Whelming. This could be bad, but I don't think it kills us, right? Like we just let them hit here, so we just don't have to give another card. I think it seems semi-reasonable. Like they discard a card here. Worst case scenario, it's like whelming into bonds, or like whelming into like ancestral empowerment bonds or something like that. Oh, I don't think we're gonna play around the empowerment here or whatever. Like we're just gonna try to block 4 on the whelming, which I'm assuming they have or are probably gonna get. Okay, so they have a descendant. So this does mean that they're going to be able to. Okay, no, they don't have dishonor yet. So maybe the last get here is what? Like 100 wins or something, which is like fine. So we'll go ahead and just eat the damage a little bit. But yeah, pretty good. I don't think they have another fluster though, unless they're just getting like a random blue fluster. Okay, they do have another 4 here. So we still have to like end up giving them 2 cards. So like maybe this wasn't worth it, maybe it was. But for what it's worth, I think they already had Descendant in hand, so like it didn't really end up mattering. So let's go ahead and give them. I guess you don't have to block with Tunic just yet. Go ahead and give them, I guess, the Cloud Skiff here. I guess the question is like, do we actually want to cog in the machine next turn? I think it's probably still worth it, right? We just give them these 2, block the Gust Wave. Don't know if we want to go to 1 against Katsu though. Maybe we do. Go to 1 and just try to kill them next turn. Yeah, maybe that's the play. All right, let's go to 1. See how it works out. Again, we are kind of like in the edge of autumn kind of danger zone, but I think it's kind of spicy at least. All right, so now let's go and cog in the machine. Crank. Tap a cog just so we can turn on a backspin. I don't think this was the draw that we were looking for necessarily. Anything we can do to salvage this? Maybe not. They come in with the Cogwork Zeppelin. It doesn't quite do it. I still kind of like this play, but maybe it was wrong. Alternative play is we try to crack another gold, but I don't think that really helps us at this point, right? Except for the backspin, I guess. Awkward set of draws, I think. If you're like a blue there instead of like the Zeppelin, we can also like crack a gold, maybe something else. I don't know if maybe there was a better line there. What did we start the turn off with? We started with the blue and the backspin thrust, and then the Hogging Machine, right? Maybe there was like a better sequence there. This should still be annoying because we get to at least give this +1 here, I think, right? Which is funny. It means they do have to respect the Spitfire again. They have to give us another card here. 2-card Katsu hand could be pretty bad. That being said, they're always going to be able to strip a card with Edge of Autumn, so it's a little awkward. All right, we're never playing around Empowerment here. If they have it, that will be GG's pretty much regardless. Because if they do have Empowerment, then they can just like follow up with the Edge of Autumn swing and like take another card. Yeah, I think what we're just going to do is give them the Zeppelin here. Hope they don't have it, but they probably do. Okay, they don't have it. Very good for us. Okay. So I think we're still kind of in this game. We give them another 2 cards here. Yeah, not too bad. I mean, definitely kind of have outs here, which is funny. So we Puffin, Frank. And the question is, do we play out this card? I don't know if we can afford to, right? We send 6. We put them in the same spot. But they do have to like give us. They have to give us like 6 exactly. I think we gotta do it. I mean, like, put them to 1 here. Definitely a pretty close game. I think there's definitely maybe like a set of draws we could have had that where we can like block 4, galvanize, maybe like kind of turn the tide that way, keep a couple cards. I feel like we've been playing like okay though. Maybe not like a seasoned Puffin expert, but salvageable, I think. All right, so I think we do just want to get one over here. Swinging the one's pretty good. Okay, riches and copper cog showing up at maybe a less than opportune time, but we can maybe make something work here. So we have to block here and then maybe hope to soup up on like a 0 for 4. I think that's the plan. Okay, yeah. Going according to plan. All right. So we soup up, galvanize the cog. And I think we're cracking gold with riches next turn. Draw another card. Wow, we're still like in this game, which is kind of crazy. So guess this is kind of awkward. I don't know if we want to draw another copper cog there. But we are drawing a lot of cards. Yes, we can draw some more cards. Kind of funny. So let's try to draw one more card. Oh, we get the Sky Skimmer. Okay. That's really good. We get to go. They have to like give us 2 cards here. And then we go again, throw the Spitfire in the back, give them a 3rd card. They put them to 1 card, and then we also have a copper cog already on the field. Wow, this is I thought we were like losing this game like 100%, but I kind of did what we did. I was saying that we should do the previous turn where we like drew the galvanized card to like try to block 4. So that lined up really, really nicely for us. Very cool. Yeah, it's up to them to find like another 0 for 4 here and just kind of like throw it. Right, we get the Surging Strike. So if their hand is awkward here, like we definitely have a lot of kind of agency, I think. Ooh, and Golden Skywarden actually would be really nice as well. So I think we just throw the Skywarden in front of us. No real thought involved with that. Let's go ahead and just give 1 cog just so we can get a free gold. But yeah, I think we're in a great spot now. Now we cog the machine, crank, crank. We can tap it just in case we draw a backspin. I guess how many backspins? We've seen 2, so odds are low, but not impossible. E-Strike is an interesting one. E-Strike even good? Oh no, it's it might be good. Do we draw another card here? I guess is the question. Or do we have like functional lethal? We can take another 3 cards out of their hand and like set up an arsenal. Or no, I think this takes all the cards out of their hand, right? Because it's dovetail. Like this functionally requires 3 cards. We throw Spitfire, we set up an arsenal. So we kill them next turn, I think. I believe. If I'm doing my Puffin math right. I think there's no real incentive of drawing a card, right? Because this should strip hand. If it doesn't strip hand and they have like some react here that they maybe like throw in front of this, then that's fine. We still put them to 1 card and set up an arsenal. Yep, so let's go ahead and just give this the go again. And then this should eat the last card, the Spitfire here. So pretty good. And then we set up the E-Strike. We have a gold all ready to go. So yeah, I think we barely kind of just got there. Assuming we don't like brick horribly, which I don't think we're here. Let's go ahead and just keep cranking, putting our steam counters, doing all the fun puffin things. I guess we can go ahead and just like go again here. Like go again, play Sky Skimmer, play the E-Strike, something, or play the CNC or whatever. Should basically be game. There's maybe like a better line there, like a more damage efficient line, but I kind of was like autopiloting a little bit. All right, pretty impressive showing for the Puffin. Again, I'm not a Puffin expert by any stretch of the imagination. We also could have like killed them there, but I figure CNC is like a little bit safer. But yeah, pretty impressive deck. Like this deck can definitely race the aggro decks. Like the Fi game and the Katsu game were both pretty close. I think the Fi game a little bit less so, just because I think they had some really good turns. But like if you can race Katsu with this deck, that's very, very impressive because Katsu just is like a damage machine basically. But yeah, very, very cool deck. I think that will probably wrap it up. All right, but anyways, this was Min-Maxing's Puffin deck, which again was a community request from the Discord. So special thank you to Min-Maxing, who again you can find on YouTube at Min-Maxing Fab. I think they mostly do streams, looks like on Twitch and YouTube. And I think they also have a couple videos just kind of scattered about. So go ahead and give them some love on YouTube, Twitch, all the platforms, stuff like that. But very, very cool deck. Like I think this is going to be like a definitely interesting kind of meta deck. Like if the Puffins move away from like the boost thing and have a bit more of a pirate identity, I think that's like a really kind of like interesting angle to kind of attack the meta right now. I still don't know exactly like where she lands versus like Acilio and Phi and some of like the more like aggro combo decks basically. But it seems like she has like a lot of powerful kind of stuff going on, and like we actually did pretty well into kind of just like a bunch of like assorted decks kind of throughout the video. But yeah, special thank you again to Min-Maxing, whose deck I stole / borrowed. And yeah, if you are interested in seeing more Puffin, I would go ahead and go check out Min-Maxing. But yeah, for now, this is probably my first and maybe only foray in Puffin, unless it's a very popular kind of request. But anyways, really, really impressive non-boost Puffin list. I think this deck list is really, really solid, and I'm curious to see how this kind of like performs at like the PQ level and kind of just like at the tournament level, I guess, as well. But anyways, thank you all for watching. See y'all next time, and don't forget to again check out Min-Maxing Games, whose deck I am borrowing and or stealing. But yeah, I'll see y'all next time. And a special thank you to all the folks who decided it would be a good idea to give us $2 on Patreon. We really appreciate the support, but it's obviously never required.